All right, welcome back. I am still recording episodes here, but not from home, not in the normal with the normal equipment that I use. So hopefully the quality here is okay. And as promised, we are going to go out and test out this spot with the Spiker 18 that I used on my main account on stream the other day. Frankly, it's mostly gizzard shad, but the impressive thing was the bite rate. So let's see if we can get it to work just as impressively here, and see if it's a good way to level up spin fishing for a few minutes. We'll just test this out. We are going to drive out here just past camp, I believe. Um, in fact, I think we want to, if you can see the mini map, I think we're going to want to kind of get on that line and just follow the line east until we see our spot, which is going to be kind of casting towards the grass and stuff out in the middle of the lake over here. So hopefully I will not pass it here. I feel like, is it this much farther down? Oh, you know what I bet it is? I bet it is this much further down. I think it's that. And I think I actually am one line too far up. I don't remember the exact spot, but I do remember that it was kind of like right on one of the lines on the mini map. And then we're basically just go east here until we come right up alongside this grassy stuff here, and that's where we want to cast. Yeah, this should be good. All right, so we want to have this in our number one spot, because if we have to, we can set it down and then run after the fish. We can hit Y here now that we've turned the engine off to stand. And this isn't the exact spot I was in before, but it's hopefully close enough. Now we're gonna do pretty slow retrieval speed. We're using this, yeah, we might want to get a little closer. We're not gonna be able to cast as far with this setup as I was on my main either, but let's just see how it goes. Oh, well, that's promising. This is what I expected, or what I experienced before was just such a fast hookup time. And the theory here, the idea here is, Gizzard Chat, the idea here is it helps us level up spin fishing because we're catching fish so quickly. So at least early on here where you're getting fish, level up points on just about every fish, this seems like a good way to do this. That is actually a very nice surprise as we get a red ear here. I'm going to try doing 90% cast because that just means we get it back in the boat that much faster. But if we're not seeing as good a result, then we'll go back to max cast. I would just do regular retrieve and then maybe work in one speed up. So I had really good results casting. I'll show you where. Hopefully we don't get. So casting over here, the problem is you can get snagged over here. And so if you get snagged, then if you can't get it unsnagged, you got to kind of restart, which means take the boat ride all the way back out here. So I'd rather cast near the grass, not like through the middle of it, to decrease my chances of snagging. And it should still be a plenty good bite rate. The gizzards seem to like the slower retrieval. Couple casts without catching a fish. That's unusual for over here. So we can also go in this direction. Let's see if we catch something back here. Yeah, there we go. So just sort of experiment with different directions and spots. During the daytime, at least in my experience, you were catching fish constant in this spot. White crappie, love that. Can we get another one? That's the thing is these gizzard shads are not worth as much silver or XP. If you can turn that into a heavier dose of white crappie, then that only makes this spot better. The big thing is what we're going for though is the bite rate. All right, I'm going to change this to the 3.2 fluorocarbon leader, and let's see if that makes any difference. And I'm going to go up to 18 retrieval speed instead of 16. I don't really do pauses. Once I'm retrieving, I'm just straight retrieving. And then I might do a speed up by hitting shift for a couple seconds. But I do like to pause when it first lands. Oh, this is another little nice fish, white bass. So very cool that we're seeing some different species here. So this is where I like to let it pause and then maybe even let it go all the way to the bottom and then start retrieving and see if other fish start hitting it. Okay, we've got this smaller leader on. It feels like we're suddenly just hitting fish after fish again. I believe that's going to be two white bass in a row, which that's crazy nice. We're at 17.5 on our spin fishing, by the way. And we'll try to notice how often we get points for spin fishing on these fish, especially the smaller ones like this. That's a little reddier again. So we did not get a point on spin fishing on that one. There's the gizzard, and that did give us a point. Oh, right at the end, which completely, it's another gizzard shad, which completely works against what I'm about to say or do, which is that I kind of want to get a little closer. I actually think I want to go a little south of where we are so that we're on this line. And then that way we can kind of cast just past the spot we've been casting to. Yeah, I think I like that. So if we want to, we can actually cast over that grass now and bring it sort of through it or right by it. Let's see how this goes. Oh, there's a fish. And that one did hit on the speed up. Is that a gizzard? That is a gizzard. All right, so one thing that's interesting, let's take a look at this. We are using a gear ratio of 5 per one rotation. And let's see, what is this one? 6, so it's a little faster. So maybe we should go up to 20, maybe even 21. Let's see how this works. It's still working great. And I mean, there's something to be said that I'm on my main account. We've got maybe even more ideal gear setup. We've got all of that percentage in spin fishing. I was using a casting setup, not a spinning. So there's some differences there that might affect things. But the bite rate is so good. It was so good that this feels very slow compared to that. And again, this is still great. I mean, this is still a ton of fish in 9 minutes, but it's not quite as intense a bite rate as I was, hoping it might be. And we were definitely risking getting snagged doing this like what I just did, but just trying to test some stuff out. Hmm. Okay, maybe we need to cast a little more southeast here. Let's see if this is indeed a gizzard. Okay, it did give us a point as well. We're at 18.4. That one popped off right at the end. White bass. 18.6. So you kind of get the idea when you're this low a level in spin fishing, if you can find a spot like this where you can catch fish pretty quickly because you're getting points on so many of the fish you catch, it does feel like 18.8. It does feel like you're able to kind of level up. You wouldn't have to do this too many days to hit some of those early mile markers where you're unlocking jigging or unlocking this and that. And I mean, one of the goals is hitting 50% as soon as you can if you're interested in using open reel or bait casting setups, which I think is fun, especially if that's something you're used to doing in real life for bass. It's a good, fun goal to have. Like, how quickly can I get 50% on spin fishing so I can, oh, that stinks, so that I can unlock the bait casting, low profile and bait casting. This whole area just seems to be a good spot for fishing them, even though we're going through a rough spurt here where we're seeing a lot of fish pop off. Ooh, white crappie. That was nice. We've pretty much done a full 360 now, fishing in all directions, catching fish. So it seems to be fine fishing from this location. Now we have maxed out fishing with a spinning reel. We still have 3 points. We could put spinning with a fishing rod points, which would give us more casting distance and accuracy. It's not nothing. It's actually nice to have. It also says a little bit of control of fish, which is nice to do as well. I will think on that. I mean, I think it just depends on kind of the direction you're going, or it's always nice to have points if you're not sure what type of fishing you're going to specialize in or do the most of. Don't let it stop you. Just, fish without the points until you feel comfortable with the decision. You only get one reset of points, of skill points on your account. If you ever want to reset them another time, it actually costs gold, which is real money. So you'd rather be slow to decisions than not than fast to decisions, especially if you're on your main account and really getting into this game. Now we're suddenly catching these warmouths have shown up. So it's a little different today, a little different than what it was a couple days ago, where it was 98% gizzard shad. We caught a trophy over here, in fact, on this setup, or on this lure at least. Um, Today we're not getting quite the same bite rate and a lot less gizzard shad, more variety of other stuff too, which in terms of silver and XP, that could be a good thing. But what it's not is the bite rate I was hoping for in terms of leveling up spin fishing, although it is still very good. And you could definitely switch back to your spinner baits or other lure options. I just know that for me at least, this Spiker 218 was working really well over here, which will surprise no one who's played this game a lot. This lure is incredible and has been for a very long time. There's another gizzard. The gizzard returns. Okay, I want to try something. We'll wrap this up very soon, but I am really curious about trying a little trolling here. We may not be able to get it to work. I've tried trolling on my main account. It has seemed very slow. Um, so I don't have high hopes, but I thought we would just try it really quick just for fun. So as long as we put 3.2 on here, I think we're okay. I'm going to do the 01 because that has in general been a pretty good lure. All right, we do have a bite on the spiker, which is fun. Oh, wow. Okay. So if people ever talk about smallmouth, there you go. If people ever talk about trolling in this game, this is what they're referring to, of using at least two rigs typically with lures on them and then just engaging the trolling mode on your boat and pulling the lures behind you, hoping you can catch some fish. Okay, that's kind of cool. Now, if this works at any kind of, by the way, if you got two spikers, not that they have to both be 218s, but two spikers or two of those spinner baits that have, typically a really good bite rate, that could be the way to go. What you're looking for here is, um, with trolling, the one reason you might want to troll is you could get really good fish, but if by having two or three, even if you're holding the third one, rigs in the water, if it helps you get a better bite rate, again, it's a good way to level up spin fishing. So, uh, to me, as I've thought about this episode, I've just been thinking about how can we try to aggressively level up our spin fishing. So even though I'm holding the rod here, I'm actually still able to control the left and right motions with A and D on the keyboard of our boat while trolling. So this is where even if you get a fish that's too big for your setup, if you're in a boat trolling like this, you can kind of chase the fish. You don't want to drive on top of it because that will create too much slack in most cases. But you can come alongside of it. If you feel like you're going to be able to get it in the boat, you can turn the trolling motor off at that point. With this one, I would say he is still he is still the captain, so we're just along for the ride still for the most part. We might get him in here, I'm not sure. He's getting close to the surface. We do need to get him before we pass him, or I'll have to decide about turning the trolling motor off or not. He is right there. All right, I am not going to turn it off because it feels like he would just continue to run on me. So we'll just do another circle. Now, we are using very small setups, so even not that impressive fish could be hard for us to get in. This setup has a, what is a 3.2 leader on it. Um, but both of our setups are similar in their size. I think there was a fish on the other line as well, but it doesn't seem like it's a big enough fish to pull line. So we are circling this fish right now. It is a little faster than we are, so we got to watch what direction he decides to go in. But these small lures, this might be the key to making trolling work here, is just fish with spinner baits and such small lures that you can actually get a bite rate. What I've tried before on my main account, it's not that you couldn't catch any fish, it just was too slow. There just seemed like there was always better ways to get a good bite rate. So well, that is a pretty looking fish. We got him to come up to the surface there just long enough to see him. Oh, I think that's a smallie. No, it's a spotted. Look at that. Oh, that was nice. Do we have another fish over here? Yes, we do. Okay. So both lines had fish on them. This looks like a little crappie, maybe. Yeah, very cool. And as you'll notice, we're still getting points in spin fishing, which of course is the main goal of all this. Wow. Can't even put these lures in without catching fish, especially the spiker. Well, I have, I don't know how recreatable this is, but if it is recreatable at all, I've completely changed my opinion about trolling here. Again, especially for the expressed goal of leveling up spin fishing. Seems like it could be great. Already a fish on. Very small fish, little gizzard. And this is the one that's going to catch fish almost constantly, is this little spiker. And we are currently just to the south of that patch of grass that we were fishing near when we were casting the spiker. So we're kind of trolling now in close to the same area that we were fishing. So we've had a good day. We're almost to 20%, I'd say, unless we just stop catching fish here. We're gonna probably hit 20% before this episode's over. Even if we head into the dock from here, we'll catch a fish or two on the way, I think. Now, do notice kind of where we were on the map back here. If it ends up being that we're not catching as good a fish farther out, then maybe the secret is actually to troll that area over there. Kind of try to ride sort of this area in between the 4.5 and the 2.5. This tends to be a very good spot just in terms of casting lures in general. So I want to see if we troll over that area, do we get some bites, especially on that spinner bait that at least is going a little into the water, has a little bit of depth to it at times. Although trolling it may consistently keep it up at the top, other than when we make turns. Yeah, we are riding just in between the two spots here. Still 19.9 on spin. All right, on these little turns, that'll create a little bit of slack in the line sometimes for a second, and you'll see fish kind of hit during those moments at some of the time at least. All right, there we go. Once again, the spiker. This looks like a bluegill. I love it. And there's 20% on spin fishing. Yeah, imagine having two spikers in terms of the bite rate. It would be just sort of constant fish after fish, at least from what I've seen. Let's just turn the trolling motor off. If we're not pushing against this fish, I think we'll be able to pull it into the boat. Look at that fish. Holy cow. That is a nice red ear. Just want to make sure this guy is far enough from the boat. For whatever reason, it has really slowed down since we kind of made the turn into this part of the lake. So when you're trolling, you want them, if you want to clip, you can maybe clip it at, I would say like around 15 meters away from the boat is kind of where I'm comfortable trolling at, just in terms of the boat motor sound does apparently scare the fish a little bit. So you want your lures to be back a good distance away from the boat so that the fish will come get them. No way. Popped on and popped off. Happens a lot here. We've talked about that in my stream. It seems like you get more. Um, some people call them ghost bites, but you get more fish jumping on your line and then jumping off your line without it saying fish got away. Just like a very quick process. Seems to happen more at elk than it has at other places. Not sure what that's about, but people definitely noticed that so far. Think I would be tempted to, maybe next episode we'll see how I'm feeling, but I might be tempted to grab a second spiker or another spinner bait that we think might work really well and just go troll on the whatever this is, eastern side of the lake. Now we haven't tried the western side. The western side might be good as well, but it seemed like our bite weight rate was particularly good over there on the eastern side there. And how cool that we got spin fishing up to 20%. So again, jigging's at 25. We ate up 15 to 20%. We ate up really quickly. So um, it won't be long that we can do jigging. And the big thing about jigging, at least here, is that not only are some of the jigging setups just working really well, but it also allows you to do the skirted jig rig, which the skirted jigs are another new type of lure that they introduced for elk that seem to work pretty well. Um, so getting to the jigging rig is a good moment for someone who's really into spin fishing here at elk. Trolling has traditionally been a lot slower at night than during the day in this game, unless you're targeting specific fish at times. But mostly people will troll during the day and then sometimes even fish for something else with another method at night. But I'm leaving them out just in case we get a last fish right at the end here. Maybe we can look at some of the telescopic records and just see, is there another spinnerbait that's kind of a standout right now to put on our second line? But I wouldn't be opposed to even the bite rate we had. This is a good change of pace. If you just need it, if you're trying to level up your spin fishing and you just kind of need a break from the casting, just whatever you're doing over and over, to be able to troll and still catch a decent amount of fish, it's really nice. Oh, we did get a fish at the end. I just somehow knew we would. And if we didn't, I was gonna like pull this lure in the sort of normal way, and I figured we'd catch one that way anyway. All right, let's stand up. What is this? It's a spinner bait. So these guys we typically want to just put some long pauses in our retrieve. Oh, there we go. We got a final couple fish, and that does show you that when you need a break from trolling, just remember, if you're in one of the spots that are working really well, with these small lures, you get a really nice bite rate just casting as well. So, okay. We do not have any cafe orders. We can double check, but I just don't think we do. I guess the only thing to look at would be if that small gizzard shad order is still up. White crappie, we're just one away. That's too bad. Okay, so this one is up. All right, so that's 9 silver. I really hope I just didn't. I don't even want to know, chat. I really don't. 79 more silver. Wow. Spin fishing, some of the fish you catch, even that like spotted bass, 26 silver. Man, that's incredible. That's awesome. Okay. Next time.